That's it, everybody. Press pause because it's time to talk about nothing. Hate Zero, what's up?
I'm muted. Hey, what's going on? What's up, everybody? What's going on, Pause Gang? It's your boy, Hate Zero, your hero. Oh, my
Crawler.
dog's
Yeah,
barking.
that was right on cue. That was awesome.
Crawler, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, Carl? Coming at you.
What are we talking about?
I don't
Well,
know. We're gonna get negative reviews for the dog barking in the background.
We got bad reviews for a baby one time. That was on. Was that on NPC?
That was NPC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, babies and dogs. We're just bad people.
Yes, horrible.
Not even a bunch of professionals. We are.
Why aren't we in a studio?
Eric had to leave the country when like the biggest gaming news of the week hit last week. So
That was
we can talk about that because that's.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
that's
should.
a little $70 billion worth of something.
Yeah, that's a big one. Can we talk about the leaving of the country?
Yeah, talk about Paris real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Tell us about Paris.
Yeah,
What do you-
Paris was awesome. It's it was kind of cool. I've never been to Europe or Paris before, and to kind of see all these things that you've grown up seeing your whole life in every movie. And I don't know, the dog's barking. You see it in the movies, you see it in history books, and then you get to see it in real life. So it was a really cool experience. That being said, leaving the country and traveling to another country is incredibly difficult because you have to try to figure out how to get COVID tests in America. And they are not readily available yet. And
Not PCRs. You can get rapids, maybe, if you can find
Well,
them. But
and so
PCR
that's-
results don't come back quick.
And that's the other thing. So each country has different requirements. Each country will only allow certain tests. So to get to Paris, we could only do the antigen and PCR, not the. There's another popular third option. I forget what it's called, but there's like 4 different kinds of tests, and they only accepted 2 of them. It was a nightmare, but we got it, and we got to Paris. And then you get to Paris, and there's testing on every corner, and you can go anywhere, and it's 15 minutes or less, and it's wonderful. So that being
America
said,
problems.
Paris was really cool. I highly recommend it. We were, none of us got COVID while we were over there. We were in a group of 4. We changed out our N95 masks every, like 2 or 3 times a day. Have avoided crowds as best we can. Like, I think we traveled to Paris as safely as possible, but I think you can travel and still be safe.
Yeah, it's
So-
been about 20. I was in Paris about 20 years ago. That city is
That's
incredibly clean. Is it still pretty, like, they keep, like, the Champs-Élysées is, like, so
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah, it's probably the prettiest city on earth. Like, the architecture and yeah, just how they maintained the city, and the Louvre was
The Louvre is
Um,
awesome.
it was awesome. Yeah, and it was kind of cool to go during COVID because I imagine it's packed otherwise, but it was like not bad at all.
Did you guys have to
so-
make a reservation to go to the Louvre?
No,
No?
we walked in. They were doing reservations, but we just walked in and got to walk.
Mona
around.
Lisa's a lot smaller in person, huh?
It is, and behind bulletproof glass, and they only like on
Full
top
room
of
of
it.
people just doing this with their phone.
Yeah. On top of it
Like
being
this.
behind like 4 inches of bulletproof glass, they
Yep.
don't let you get within like 15 feet of it. So it's like, okay, yeah, hey, that's cool. They got to protect their investment, right? So, but yeah, it was really cool, really awesome. And so while I was there, Microsoft did a thing. Go figure. They can't create their own studios, so they do what they do. And
You sound like a PlayStation fanboy right now.
here we are. So, I haven't heard your guys' perspective on it. I haven't heard your opinions on it. I assume you talked about it in one of the 7 podcasts you guys are on together, or all 7. I think I'm conflicted because I think, looking at this objectively, this is really good for the Activision employees because of all the stuff going on in Activision. I still don't think it's good for gaming as a whole to put another huge, company like this underneath the umbrella of one company. Like, I wouldn't be happy. Obviously you call me PlayStation fanboy. I wouldn't be happy if Sony went out and did this. I would rather them grow local studios and
Mhm.
create
Well,
them that way.
that being said, the rumor swirling right now is, should Sony buy EA? Like,
No,
that's what
God,
I
no,
saw.
that's
Like,
stupid. Or
yeah.
Ubisoft or any of this, right? I saw that. I don't want that either. That creates more of the same problem that I don't want.
I mean, it's building towards antitrust, which I think Microsoft will clear the hurdles for antitrust on this,
Yeah.
because they're gonna present their quarrel is not with PlayStation, and they've self-admittedly moved past PlayStation and Nintendo. Like, in those court filings with against Epic and Apple, Microsoft has come out saying PlayStation and Nintendo aren't their competitors. Google, Apple, and those bigger tech companies are their new threat to how they deliver content. And they provide a hardware, but they're in a service subscription model now. Like, they report on membership activations. Like, that's why you have to activate for Minecraft Dungeons on Switch, and Minecraft on Switch, and Minecraft on PlayStation. You have to have an Xbox Live account. They want those activations because that's what they can take back to their shareholders as engagement, and how they're moving units and having people sign up for their service. There's 3 tiers. That there was I don't know how substantiated it was today, but it came out that the PlayStation Game Pass competitor is going to have 3 tiers: gold, ultimate, and platinum, or gold, platinum, and ultimate, or something like that. So I mean, they're kind of copying Xbox's homework a little bit with that, because they have silver, gold, and now ultimate with Xbox Live. So I mean, and Game Pass is tied into that.
Does silver really count for anything?
Silver is what silver? I mean, if you're a kid with a Nintendo console, you have silver if you're playing Minecraft. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think in the grand scope of Teddy Roosevelt, like, it's a bad thing. Like, that's what I've listened to a few different podcasts this week, and talking about, like, yes, it's good for Activision getting Bobby Kotick out of it, and
Blizzard,
and I'm not opposed to Call of Duty getting a refresh and slowing down. And there's so many different support studios that could do other things that are just pumping out random cosmetics and or background artwork for Call of Duty that could be creative and do other things. And if we slow it down and let those 3 studios that are doing Call of Duty do Call of Duty, but spread it out, and then let the support studios go do other stuff, or share some of the IP amongst each other, both Xbox Game Studios and Blizzard Activision. Like, it can be some good creative stuff, but it is worrisome that it is kind of all under one person.
I just want High Moon to remake a Mech Assault game. That's all I want.
I tweeted about that last week. I said because High Moon did, the last game they made was War for Cybertron, right? Like, before they got put on just support studio for Bungie and for Call of Duty.
Yeah, they would make a great. I mean, those games were Transformers meets Gears of War. That's how those War for Cybertron games. Like, give me a third one, please. I loved those.
I think we've established that we've moved past a little bit of the cover-based system with what was it? Outrider? Is that what it was called?
Outriders. Well, there wasn't much for cover in Transformers. It was more of the running with the shotgun,
the roadie run
gears. Yeah, that's because then you could transform into a vehicle and still have a gun, you know. And so it was. I don't know. It was just well done. So I think, like, it's big plays. Microsoft's making big plays, right? And overall, I hope it's good for gaming in the fact that, like, we have watched history somewhat repeat itself. I talked about this on NPC, where it was like PlayStation dominated the PS2 era, right? I mean, even the PS1 really against the 64, But
Yeah.
then PS2 came out, then Xbox showed up, new kid on the block. Then the 360 came out, guns blazing, and PlayStation was like, the mighty Casey letting two strikes pass and then striking out initially. I know over the long haul, the PS3 still ended up, I think, outselling the 360. But
And outside of America, that's always true. Sony always outsells Microsoft outside of America.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so and then Xbox stood up like the mighty Casey with the Xbox One and they struck out, but they didn't recover, right? And now, like,
Well,
it seems like
I think they
I
recovered.
think
The
they
Xbox
recovered.
One X, when it came out, like after they did the One X and kind of corrected some of they got rid of the Kinect and got rid of some of the stuff. I think the sales, it didn't come back like the PS3 did, right? But I think they recovered somewhat.
but compared to the PS4,
Yeah.
I don't even think it was they
No,
weren't
it
even in the
wasn't
same
close.
weight class anymore. You know what I mean? It was like Glass Joe versus Mike Tyson. Like, it was
Hey
just
man, you don't diss Glass Joe.
that's a deep cut for any of the longtime listeners.
Can we
So,
talk about the real big hard hitting question that I haven't heard anyone ask yet? Does this mean really Microsoft did this so they could buy Crash Bandicoot out from underneath PlayStation? Because I think Activision owns Crash now, right? 'Cause
Crash,
they-
yeah.
Toys
Yes.
for Bob. So now they've taken the former PlayStation mascot away from Sony.
It would have been
Yeah.
funnier if it was Nintendo buying it, but only because they could have then taken the commercials from the 90s and flipped them on their head.
Yeah, that would have been good.
But I mean, there's
And
lots of
Spyro,
stuff.
huh?
They have
Spyro, too.
they have Spyro, they
Tony
have
Hawk's.
they have Overwatch, they have Tony Hawk, they have
Yeah.
Diablo, they have StarCraft, like and Phil Spencer was talking to Wall Street Journal and talking about some of the old stuff like Hexen and I think there's
That's a
some
deep cut right there.
yeah, and there's some older like we haven't seen a proper StarCraft game in a long time, and maybe they'll actually make RTS Warcraft again. Like, where after Warcraft 3, it just evolved into World of Warcraft, and it's completely switched genres.
Maybe
But it
they'll
used to
make
be
that
a real time
Ghost
strategy game.
that they talked about for so long. The StarCraft shooter that was supposed to come, unless that ended up just evolving into Overwatch. But yeah, go ahead, Josh.
the thing that I keep going back to is just like, what's strange about this generation is it's like, where is the PS5? Like, they're not even in the conversation much. I know the console's selling, but
Mhm.
I feel like they're sitting on their laurels a little bit, right? And Microsoft is like, they came out like guns blazing, and I hope it like ruffled some feathers back in Japan, and PlayStation just, I mean, obviously delays and stuff happen, right? And it's so
Mhm.
last year the PS5 ended up looking like the Wii U as far as the amount of games that came out,
Yeah.
like, and I'm like,
Although
I'm
I
not
still have too much to play.
for sure. We all do, right? There's not,
Yeah.
it's the buzz and everything.
Yeah.
What are people talking about?
Mhm.
And
Like
it's gonna be a different
Deathloop,
story.
Deathloop was really well received, but there's an asterisk next to that because it's on PlayStation, but it's a Bethesda / Microsoft Game Studios game. Like it,
Yeah.
and Ratchet was really well received by a lot of people. But the fact that a small EA kind of indie title of It Takes Two took the Game Awards game of the year, like that kind of just speaks to the year that was had with games. Like Halo Infinite became my game of the year, but that took it in the last 3 weeks. But going into that, it was Metroid Dread. Before that, it like Returnal and Ratchet were like right neck and neck with each other. So I mean, all three consoles had good showings, but it wasn't head and shoulders above everything else, I think, until Halo came out. But it was too late for Keighley's cutoff, so it's going to be an interesting year next year.
Yeah, it'll be rough for him next year. But I think that's a COVID casualty, right? Because the games that are coming out now or that have been delayed were the games that had a huge part of their development in the transition from working in office to working from home. And for a lot of these companies, they were trying to navigate how to actually do the work from home and still accomplish the game. So I think going forward, I don't suspect that's going to be an issue, because if you haven't figured it out by now, you're not going to figure it out, right? Like you either know how to do it now or you don't. You're not going to.
Yeah.
It's been
And
2
Sony's
years, so
Sony's swinging big here in 2 weeks. Nintendo's swinging big tonight/tomorrow. I mean,
Let's back up though, because the headlines were Microsoft buys Activision and Sony decides to start putting out more PS4s. Right?
Yeah.
Like it
True.
seems like it seems like a Nintendo move. You know what I mean? Like that's that who's gonna buy, like, if knowing the PS5 is potentially gonna hit a store shelf at some point.
yeah, don't
Who's
waste
going
the
and
don't
buying
waste
a
the
PS
silicon. Don't waste the silicon for that. Like, don't waste it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just a weird play, right? And I'm on the fence. I'm on the side of gamers. I'm not like I want to see PlayStation win as much as I want to see Xbox and Nintendo win, because gamers win. I look
Yeah.
forward to the day that I have a PS5 and I start playing through a lot of these single player games. Like I'm I am excited about that.
I'm replaying the Spider-Man remake for PS5, not Miles, but the OG, and it's phenomenal. It's amazing what Insomniac did on the PS5 with the performance ray tracing, the 60 frames ray tracing. It looks like a PS5 game.
And it finally looks like that trailer they put out with all the puddles.
Yeah, it does. You're right. It does. The E3 video or whatever, right? The famous one. But no, I agree with you. I'm in the same exact boat, and I don't even want to say I want them to win. I don't want anyone to lose more so.
Right.
Like, I think we need 3 players in this space, because if we lose Sony or Microsoft, gaming's going to take a huge hit, because that competitive drive is important. Obviously, if we lose Nintendo, all of us are losing our childhood, so that's not an option either. But I don't want to go to Applebee's every night. I don't want all my favorite restaurants to be owned by some big chain. I don't want all my movies to be owned by Warner Brothers or Disney in this case. And I like Disney. Like I fear that Microsoft's strategy is going to take games away from millions of people who only have a PlayStation. Sure, that's fine. But I also worry that we're getting just too big. I like having, some anonymity behind the studios, and obviously they still have to answer to somebody. They still have to have shareholders. They still have to please Microsoft and please Sony and so on. But
what if this is Microsoft saying, you want all these games, let's put Game Pass on the PlayStation?
Yeah, I mean it's the chance for the Trojan horse, but I don't
Yeah.
with PlayStation kind of coming out almost today unofficially, whatever channels I was able to see that headline pop up, we know they've had to have been working on something for a while, because Game Pass has been around now for over a year, right? Like at least well over a year.
It's been rumored for quite a while, but
and they kind of pseudo had it with PlayStation Now, but it was just a really weak service.
Jason Schreier or whatever that dork's name is, he leaked it, if you can count anything he says as a leak, like last year. So
yeah, I mean,
you just got us all blocked
by Jason Schreier or whatever his name is. Yeah, darn.
But like the question comes about is how profitable is the subscription model? Like Netflix, I think, is getting ready to increase their prices, right? Like Netflix has had 3 or 4 price increases in the last 15 years.
They're doing it way different, because Netflix is intentionally operating in a deficit and have been for a long time, because they're trying to build up their content and they're investing in movies and shows and yada yada. So I don't think Microsoft's doing that by any means, right? They're making money hand over fist, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, they announced last week 25 million subscribers to Game Pass. So I mean, even at the I think Ultimate, I pay $15 a month. I don't know what base model is. Base model 10?
10. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean,
and base model PC is 10 also.
So yeah, I mean they're making good money off that, but also you got to think. I don't know if they're putting out good titles like Sony has put out like titles that you want to have to go buy like Last of Us and Spider-Man and Deathloop and Ragnarok that's coming out here, and so like if they're missing out on the $60 or $70 that is every time, I don't know. I guess 25 million for 12 months for 15. Like I guess the money does come in. So
the money definitely comes in. But the other problem I have with it's Microsoft, right? Like they can afford it. They can afford to buy anything they want.
They spent half their cash on hand for this is what they're spending. They have 140 billion liquid, I guess, and they're spending half of it.
And it was the largest deal of all time, which is second to the last largest deal of all time.
That was 2 weeks ago.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't love it. I'm not gonna love it. It's not because it's Microsoft. I have all 3 consoles. I don't love it. If Sony did this, I wouldn't love it. If Nintendo did it, I'd be shocked, but I still wouldn't love it.
A couple things. One, I think Sony's showing their hand by saying, "Hey, we have more games coming out on PC now," right? Because I think
that pisses off PlayStation players for some reason. I don't know why.
It's because they live in this weird bubble that they they have their brand has to be winning, or
it's an elitist thing.
It's just bizarre. It's so bizarre. You have
to play it with this and this only, and you can't use their mouse and keyboard. Even though most people that probably play that game on PC are using a controller because it's built as a game that was built for controller.
Right. But the other thing is Microsoft may not give 2 shits about PlayStation having the Game Pass there, because if they can sell a controller and put an app on a TV that says, "Hey, all these games are cloud. All you got to do is press A to play."
They don't even care if they sell you a controller. It's Bluetooth.
Let's talk
anything
about that
Bluetooth.
Cloud gaming really quick. I tried it on my Series X one time. I played that stupid what was that game? It came out. It's not the Goat Simulator. It's the deer game. I played that deer game.
Okay.
What's it called? Oh dear.
I have no idea.
Dear God.
I turn on my Xbox and go right to Halo. I don't even need Game Pass right now.
Oh my dear Lord. What is it called? It's the deer simulator game, right?
Okay.
I played it.
Okay, sure. We're with you. Just
on xCloud on my Series S.
Yeah.
I played it. It immediately locked up, hard locked my damn system. So I'm never using xCloud again. I hate this.
So
now.
Josh has the exact opposite.
Yeah, my kids wanted to play Skate 3. I was like, "Oh, it has the cloud. Just hit A and play." They just hit A and started playing. There was no hiccups whatsoever on my OG Xbox One, like day one Xbox One.
Yeah, that's how it should work.
Yeah,
that's how it should work.
Which I think is going to be Microsoft eating Stadia's lunch when it comes to cloud gaming, because Stadia and what's Amazon's thing called? Luna. It's all tied to you having to buy.
Is this Rosalina's Lumens? What? Loomer?
Lemming.
Lumpia?
I like turtle.
All right.
Hey, that kid's from Portland. That's a deep Portland cut right there.
All right.
On KGW News.
Where were we? You guys derailed that completely.
Cloud gaming.
Yeah. So Amazon and Google want you to buy games, and same with Nintendo Cloud service. You're buying these things that you don't have, you physically don't get to have, because at least a digital game that you purchase that is downloaded onto your system, as long as the system lives and it's downloaded and you don't have to rely on re-downloading it, it's yours. And a cloud-based thing, if the service shuts down, your money evaporates. You don't have anything to go back to.
Yeah.
So at least with
how long are they going to keep like Resident Evil 7 cloud servers online for the Nintendo people? Like, I know they did that in Japan. Are those even still up? Maybe they're not even up anymore.
I don't even know. But like that was the first. That was also the first worry, was not even the game going away, but your save file going away if you didn't continue to pay for it or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what makes xCloud so much more appealing, is you're buying it. You're buying into it. You never own it.
That's why it's appealing, because you can't lose what you never had.
Yeah, it's the secret of Bruce Banner. He's always angry. It's just you never owned it.
Yeah.
So,
but it does mentally do something different for you, doesn't it? Like it. Because you go into it knowing like this is a limited time venture, like I don't.
And
know
they can take it away, and
this.
they can take it away at any time.
This is Hollywood Video.
But you're paying the Netflix thing, and it's been something we've been conditioned for now for the last 10, 15 years. How long has Netflix been streaming stuff now? It's been a while, but it goes. It's kind of both, because we have all these streaming services. Like, I feel like Disney's not going to take stuff away from their stuff, but weirdly enough, like HBO Max is taking like the original Batmans off the service. It's like, Warner Brothers, you own those. Like, those are yours. Like, why are you taking them off the service?
I think money changes hands between other services. Right. And what you're getting at too is the other thing is I have all these streaming services, yet I buy my movies on Vudu. Granted, they go to the other places, but I mean, basically Xbox is saying, look, we are the Amazon Prime Video of games, because you can not only stream our games, but you can also purchase them if you want and get the DLC. Netflix is like, you got one subscription service. Like, they've got one. I mean, you can up it, right, if you have 4K and that kind of thing, but like, they don't sell anything outside of just their subscription. And to me, I wonder if that's why they're leaving so much money on the table. Because if they at very least made a marketplace where it's like you could buy the brand new movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Microsoft has the data to show that stuff that's on Game Pass and leaving sells so much better for developers. They present that data, and the same can be said for like movies, because I feel like Love Actually is available on Netflix in July, but when my wife and I went to go watch it on like Christmas Eve, it wasn't there. So what did I do? I bought it on Amazon for $8 for digital, and so now I own it, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Microsoft has cornered it to then they're giving you the opportunity, and they're giving you a discount too. They give you the 10 or 20% off, whatever it is.
And they're keeping you in their service, right? Netflix.
I know how to stick it to them.
You're gonna go buy it on PlayStation?
Yep, I'll play it for free, right? I'll play it for rental on Xbox, and then I'll go buy it on PS5.
But I will say Game Pass is changing my mentality a little bit. Like, there is some stuff I double dip on, or I have it on Xbox or on Nintendo. But like Death's Door was Xbox exclusive. It didn't launch into Game Pass. It was very well received. I was intrigued by it, but I had other stuff to play at the time. And if there is other stuff for me to play, and it's not like I'm worried about missing out about the water cooler talk, even though we don't have much. Our water cooler talk is here right now, I guess. So if I'm not worried about I'm missing out on that, I'm willing to roll the dice and wait and see if it comes to Game Pass, which it did. And so I have it on Xbox right now, and I can play it in Game Pass, which is nice. But I wonder if people miss out on some. I don't know what developers, the positive and negative of that, but I think a lot more people are willing to wait though sometimes.
I think I would have waited on a couple of games I played this last week.
From the development side of things, more than likely the devs of Death's Door recouped all of their dev costs. That's part of the deal for Game Pass, is that it pays for development. So if they realized, Game Pass has now become the second life for games and this opportunity for devs that maybe would have gone broke or didn't, or, maybe barely broke even, to potentially, maybe they only break even with Game Pass, but it could also potentially put them over the marks where they're actually making a profit off of their game at this point. And that's an amazing thing for devs. Like, that, like, I know there was so much talk about how bad Game Pass was for, and the reality is something different. Like,
Well, and even a bigger studio like Ubisoft put Extinction, which was getting mixed receptions by the community because it was a Tom Clancy game leaving like the ground, and especially a Rainbow game, leaving the grounded reality of real world to this alien symbiote, whatever this thing is. But I don't know what the numbers are because they take a little while to come out sometimes with Game Pass. But I think Extinction had a pretty decent day one launch because it was on PC. I downloaded it on PC, and it triggers you to go into Ubisoft's like their system, like just like EA Play or whatever on PC. There's two different services for EA, which is so weird. Because I have a beta launcher for the Game Pass stuff, and then I have my Origin launcher, which is PC is a crazy world with launchers, but yeah, I mean they're finding ways to get more and more stuff is coming console and PC. There's less separation because sometimes it was like only coming to console, only coming to PC, or both, and ooh, look at that coming in. Coming into YouTube here.
That time again.
I got rid of them. But I mean, a game like that, I'm assuming it's monetized similar to the Rainbow Six, right? So like, that's a great game to put on Game Pass because if it's like you got 4 operators, but you can buy 10 more, right? Like, if that's the way it works, or you can earn them, of course, if you really want to grind. Like, that's the world we live in now. We live in this world of live games, and it's. There's a lot of people that don't like it. Like, they still are like, I want $60. I want a full game, and I don't want DLC.
I'm that guy, and mainly because the live games don't appeal to me because I don't. Most of the live stuff requires a lot of play, right? To
you got to grind it out.
You got to grind, right? And I don't have time to play like that anymore. It would have been great for me 20 years ago, but it doesn't work well for me anymore.
Like a battle pass or something doesn't work? Is that what you're saying?
Well, even that you have to grind. Like, I'm only level 60 something one on my Fortnite one, and I bought half of that. And that's mainly, I'm like on the cusp of getting regular Spider-Man, but I bought Tom Holland Spider-Man. So it's like there's stuff out there that like people pay for the convenience, and they're banking on you paying for the convenience because it is a grind.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But, and I mean, what we're talking about like Game Pass being, what, $10-15 a month. I mean, how much is just Fortnite to sign up monthly? $12 a month or something, right? Like,
for the crew, yeah.
Yeah, like that's $12 a month, right? Like that's for one game.
And that's another thing with this whole acquisition is World of Warcraft $15 a month subscription. Is that going to fall? Is there going to be a new tier of Game Pass Ultimate for PC, or is just the good faith of Papa Xbox going to just roll people in that are paying $15 a month for World of Warcraft?
Think of how much give everybody that World of Warcraft subscribers will plus up their Game Pass Ultimate numbers. So I mean,
I'm wondering if just everybody gets I'm just wondering if everybody gets access to it. You already have free access to what, World of Warcraft up to level 60 or 70. I don't play it, but like I think it's free up until a certain point. And it's
said he has no time. How would he know anything about World of Warcraft?
I have no idea. You know what I know about World of Warcraft is the South Park episode.
That's all I know as well. That's all I know. The Sword of a Thousand Truths.
How have you killed that which has no life?
Exactly. You can't just give up on the world of Warcraft.
I love that the developers are like, I don't play this game.
Yeah.
Dude, I met people like that. Worked for Minecraft. They're like, I've never once played the game. I'm a producer and I've never played Minecraft. I was like, what? Do you live in South Park?
Well, crazy. I mean, so that was some news, but then also, 2 days ago, EA and Respawn came out and announced that we're getting 3 Star Wars games coming here in the near future.
Yeah, that's exciting. I cannot wait for Fallen Order 2 or whatever they're going to call it, Jedi Rise, who knows what the heck they're going to call it. I mean, it's interesting where they're going to go with that because, the Star Wars universe and the Skywalker saga all has the same issue of time, right? We all know how the major events play out. So there's only so much they can do with it. I'm curious what they're going to do, but I'm
you
so
need to
excited.
finish your 2 episodes of Boba Fett. That's all I'm going to say about
Okay.
that. But like, if
Is
you're
that gonna blow
anything
my
like
mind?
me, I lost it. I was like, like,
Oh
and
yeah,
I think you're gonna lose it too.
there's a
So
there's a little Easter egg in episode 5 that if
it's a little
you like,
more than an Easter egg, I would
yeah.
say.
All right.
So
Say no more.
yep, that's
I
it.
will.
That's
I'll
all.
watch it. Yeah, and I'm
You need to
excited for
watch
the Obi-Wan series. But back to the games, like I think Fallen Order was probably. It's hard to. It was definitely my game of the year in 2019. Was
Yep,
it?
got robbed by its release window.
Yeah, that was definitely my game of the year. That was one of the best games. That was probably my game of the decade. Never mind, The Last of Us. But it was up there. It was like one of the best games I've played. So I am so hyped for that. And then now we can speculate on the other two.
Well, if the new first person shooter is anywhere near Titanfall 2, like that's kind of what we have to go off of as far as a narrative driven FPS. Then
I was brainstorming today because like Dark Forces is the very first Star Wars kind of FPS that we had, and that was a Doom clone. But I'm wondering, like, I'm also thinking Republic Commando was first person, and they have recent kind of IP that has been widely praised, and that is Bad Batch. So I wonder if we don't get a Bad Batch style Republic Commando with Titanfall kind of. The Bad Batch has gear and other stuff that they can do. They all have unique abilities. Like, I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's, wow, so many possibilities, right? Like thinking back to like they could bring back the whole Jedi Outcast, that whole, they could reboot that series and Bad Batch sounds cool, don't get me wrong, but I want to have something to be able to wall run and have some of that movement in Titanfall, but as a Jedi with a lightsaber, like in first person, that would be.
Do you want to have an FPS that has melee
A
lightsabers?
lot of times,
like
a lot of times, like in those Jedi Academy games, your first person was gun, but your lightsaber would switch to third person, so you could just bounce back and forth between the two. So,
all I really want is either a series, a movie, or a video game to portray Vader as badass as he's supposed to be, because he's so stiff in the 70s and in the original trilogy. Like, he's supposed to be this greatest of all time.
Like Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One Vader.
Exactly. Like,
and Vader was that in Jedi Fallen Order. I mean,
it was the scariest thing in the world, right? Like, you knew you couldn't beat him. He was menacing, and he was only using like a fraction of his power to just mess with you right there. So like, it would be so cool to have something more built around him, and maybe Jedi Fallen Order 2 will have a lot more Vader in it. I don't know, but I would love to see, because I haven't read the books or the comics much, but I've seen some, and he's way more badass than we've ever been able to see him be.
Oh yeah.
So I want that.
Absolutely.
I would love to play a game where I'm just Vader and I just go around force choking everybody.
Do you remember the beginning of Force Awakens where you do all the Wookiees?
The Wookiees on Kashyyyk.
There was an achievement for like launching like 200 of them off the cliff or something.
And I mean, there's a few reasons why I want an Oculus Quest, and Vader Immortal is one of the reasons. Like, you don't get to play as Vader, but because isn't that like you're some dude a bounty hunter that becomes a Jedi? I don't even know what the premise of that is, but I don't know. Or there's a few VR Star Wars stuff that looks pretty cool that I would want to take a look at.
VR would be a good use case for the lightsabers. That'd be cool.
And then the third game is supposed to be being made by, I think it's a newer studio that EA has, but it's from developers, I guess, that worked on XCOM type
Yeah,
game
it's gonna be
and
an RTS or something.
Civilization. So it's going to be an RTS.
Yeah, I'm less hyped for that.
But if it can be
Wait,
done right, I think
wait.
they can do
An
different
RTS?
eras. Yeah, real time strategy. But either real time strategy, because they have pedigree in Civilization as well as
Oh, okay.
XCOM. So it could be kind of, maybe it could be a mesh of lots of stuff. I mean, I
What's
don't know.
that XCOM style? The same as Mario
X-
Rabbids. Not
Mario- yeah,
RTS.
cover based strategy positioning
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Anyhow, I mean, it could be cool, but those aren't my. I don't get overly hyped for those. But if they did it well, that could be cool. So.
Yeah, and then RTS, I perk up because I'm like, I remember loving like Lord of the Rings and Halo Wars.
You did like that.
Like
How'd
those
you like Halo Wars 2?
From what I've played so far, I've enjoyed. I just took it. I haven't.
Have you gone back to it?
Yeah. It's been a great backbone game.
Yeah, well, and it's also good because the Banished are featured in it, so it's a good way to understand a lot that's going on in Halo Infinite.
A lot more. You get a lot of Atriox background. So,
maybe I should play it.
I think you definitely should, especially because you seem to really you've been into the single player games,
yeah.
But it's also one that we can do. I think we can only do 2-player co-op though.
Yeah,
but
the cutscenes are really good though.
Amazing, like even if you just went through and watched, if you went on YouTube and just watched all the cutscenes put together, I'm sure somebody's done that.
Yeah,
it'd be worth doing. So,
well, and speaking Star Wars, do you guys see the leak that happened today? Like, there's Boba Fett footage from 1313 that just came out of nowhere.
It surfaced.
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, I would love 1313 to come back and to get fleshed out more. I just looked it up on Wikipedia. It was made because that was how long ago? That was.
It's a ways back.
Yeah, I mean, April 3rd, 2013, it was announced that they'd canceled it. So we saw it we probably saw that at E3 2012.
Yeah, it's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, and they were using Unreal Engine 3 for that game. So we're on to Unreal Engine 5 now. Like, obviously that scales up, so they could convert it up. And LucasArts Games is kind of back with that revamp, so they I think are the owners of that property. So
Rogue Squadron 3, 4, sitting on that Wii U. It's done. Put it on the Switch.
I'm excited, Josh. You gonna dabble into the PS5 for the KOTOR remake?
I actually probably will. That'll probably be the play. That'll probably be. Yeah. I've started playing that game I have it on my phone. It works well with the Backbone, but
I bought it on Switch too.
It's just rough.
It is rough.
I remember I bought I kept buying Xboxes at thrift stores because I couldn't get my disc drive to spin fast enough, and I couldn't get my 360 to download the patch it needed to be able to play the backwards compatible on that game. So, I have this copy. I'm like, I can't do anything with it, but it runs in the Series X and the Xbox One or the Xbox One now. But
all these years later, it's rough.
Yeah, it's hard to go. It's hard to go back to. So yeah, no, it's just crazy. I mean, I feel like we're gonna get a slew of Star Wars games, and I honestly I hope the Switch sees something like as healthy as the Switch is. I would love to see Rogue Squadron collection, even widescreen.
They've been doing so much 64 stuff, just either randomly, independently. Because what are you playing right now?
Shadow Man.
Yeah.
And then I mean Banjo and the expansion pack stuff that's been coming out, and then
Majora's Mask next month.
Yep.
Didn't they announce a Switch Star Wars game of some sort? It looks like a
Hunters.
Hunters is coming out this year. Lego Star Wars
battle arena thing.
So Lego, yeah, and Hunters. we don't really know a lot about that yet. It's just been kind of cuts. Cool. It's been cinematic kind of trailers.
Yeah, Jawa stacked.
We got Jawas stacked up. Yeah, like kids trying to sneak into a movie theater, into an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
But we finally have a date for the Skywalker Saga Lego game coming out on April 5th, I think. Which I had pre-ordered on Switch, and I went and go ahead. I went and pre-ordered it on Xbox as well because I'm worried about load times on Switch.
Oh yeah.
Because I have like the Lego game, and the load times in between worlds is like you can go make a sandwich and come back, and it's still
we talk
going.
about the instant load times, but what we don't talk about is how much we used to be able to do in those loading windows. You can go make a sandwich, you can go to the bathroom, you can look stuff up on your phone. Like sometimes games are too fast now. I miss it. I miss having that, like, oh, I'm gonna put my controller down, let this load. Everyone now is just instant gratification.
But they hit it. It like I'm excited for Jedi Fallen Order 2 to not have the squeeze between the rocks.
Who's the first developer to do that? And everyone else on Earth was like, "Oh, that's brilliant! Let's
hide a loading screen."
It's either Tomb Raider or Uncharted that had to.
I think it was probably Uncharted.
Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this is perfect!" Like every game, it's an open world game, and then all of a sudden there's a like random place for you to squeeze, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, because
either that or an elevator.
Because Mass Effect. Mass Effect was kind of the first.
Elevator,
yeah.
Those were
some long elevators
too. yeah. I remember.
They got better in the remasters.
I never even played those.
I bought it
too much.
I've been playing it. It's on Game Pass, so you don't even have to buy it now. Hey, you can go play it on Game Pass.
I can just go play it. There's too much to play. I'm never gonna catch up. Luckily, I'm in like one of those weird I'm not really Horizon is not really getting me excited. Even though I did start the first one and I enjoyed what I played, I don't know, something about it just not exciting me, and I'm in this not really interested in the Dying Light 2. Like I loved the first Dying Light. I thought it was great. I'm not really hyped for Dying Light 2 at all. I'm in this stage, so I'm trying to use that to knock out games I never finished. In doing
I'm kind of sad Stalker got pushed all the way to Christmas. Was it Stalker?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, that was the Xbox one that was going to be coming to console for the first time, but walking around Chernobyl and doing.
Weren't they going to add NFTs to that? And then the internet was. Was that the game? I thought that was one of the games.
No, Ubisoft is getting ready to add NFTs to everything. I don't even know. I don't know if Xbox was.
They got to pay for this acquisition.
So, speaking of Ubisoft, I picked up Far Cry 6.
Oh no! Here we go.
Here it comes.
Here we go.
I hate it. I hate it. It's terrible. It's not good. And I picked up Resident Evil 8.
Do you have that little wiener dog in a wheelchair though?
Not yet. I haven't made it. I have a stupid alligator that's annoying.
Okay.
The game's okay. So I'm gonna start with the main most important part. The game is not fun, and the shooting sucks. Right? It's a shooting game with bad shooting mechanics.
Well, you gotta
get to the chopper.
You can't. It's just and then they force you to do parkour, and but my frustration with it.
Oh, that's a good sound. I'm gonna have to get that sound effect now. Thank you. I'm gonna have parkour.
Parkour. My frustration with it is the same frustration I have with Resident Evil 7, which I didn't play, but I can assume it's the same as 8. But those games I don't think need to be first-person perspective, and they do first-person really poorly. On top of the field of view being bad, I think the camera is sitting too low. It's not actually sitting at where a human's head is going to be. So the entire perspective is weird, and your character moves weird, and it's not natural like a real first person shooter.
It's the zoom. It's how close.
Yeah, the field of view is terrible.
The field of view is so restricted so that you have to turn to look to see where stuff's at, And
your character turns.
Can you adjust
slowly.
field of view?
No.
It's intentional to add terror.
It doesn't add terror, it adds frustration. and so I'm playing 8 and I'm fighting these stupid werewolf things, and it's not I'm not afraid of them. I'm frustrated that I can't do what I want to do because the gameplay is bad. So I'm not playing that game anymore. If you're a fan of it,
Did you buy it on
can
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
That's too bad. On Xbox, you could have got a refund still.
Yeah, it's okay. I game share with my buddy, so it's not the end of the world. He likes it, but he's, I guess, not as critical of the frustrations I have. It's just the first if they could have done an over the shoulder view and still pulled off scary, and it would have been a lot more fun, and I could have forgave some of the bad controls. So a first person game is supposed to kind of feel like you are the character, like the controller and the character is an extension of you, right? At no point does it feel like that with these two games. Like, they're not smooth. And the Ubisoft one's maddening because they could have just copied Rainbow Six. Like, the one of the best first person shooter teams exist under your umbrella. Like, how'd you get this wrong?
It's a lot. It's because it's a contained map in Rainbow. They don't have to worry about
I
running
understand
everywhere.
that, but they could have at least got the mechanics of the first person part right. Like,
Maybe
and
we're
the
just not
gunplay.
leveled up enough. Maybe it's like Breath of the Wild where you can't climb all the way until you level up more.
You get out of breath.
Can't level up stupid.
Out of breath in the wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's what I've been doing. So then I went back to Spider-Man, and I'm having fun with that because I beat Miles, but I never beat the first Spider-Man.
Mm.
And it's awesome.
Did you beat Pokemon?
Kind of.
What does that mean? You beat it as far like you got to the point that you tried to find defog, and you're like, I give up.
I beat it to the point where I got to the Elite Four, and I understand what would happen next if I beat them. so yeah, I'm done with it. Yes,
I got you. Okay, all right.
It's impossible, and it's probably possible, but the frustrating thing is, like, after I beat the first two, and then lose to the third, you have to fight the first two again to.
No,
get
you
back
don't.
to
You could save apparently. I didn't know this, but
I saved every single one.
That's heartbreaking. that you just broke my heart, sir. Huh. Well then.
Oh, that was great. That was good.
I did not know that.
Well, there you go. There you go. We're just about there. So, any final words or where we can find you, Mr. Hate Zero?
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter, but most importantly, come to the Discord. We're giving away free Switches all the time. You just come in there and say, I demand my free Switch. Call everyone a bunch of rich scumbags. No, I'm just kidding. Come to the Discord. Come hang out. It's a fun group of people, and there's games and stuff.
Don't cross hate.
You can cross hate. Don't worry about it. He's harmless. He doesn't even know how to ban people versus kick. So,
Crawler, where can we find you?
Hanging out in the Discord, n64josh.com/discord.
Are you ever really hanging out in the Discord? Let's be real here.
I'm lurking. Yeah.
All right.
I'm there.
All right.
I saw you chatting today. Yeah, I'm busy at work, but yes, I glance and I'm keeping an eye on everybody.
All right. All right.
And then Twitter, Nightcrawler724, Nightcrawlers without the E. I tweet things occasionally.
I only tweet at the people that ask me where Hate Zero is.
Now. Yeah, that was good today.
That was good. Hey, it worked. We got. If you're listening, thank you.
Yeah, and you forgot to attach the URL for this.
I intentionally had no idea where it was, so I just like this will work. I didn't suspect he would go and find it on his own, but hey, it worked. It got the job done.
Look, see, I love all my fellow rich scumbags. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Hoffman says that's Mr. Scumbag to you. So there it is. There it is. All right, guys. I'm N64Josh everywhere. We'll see you next time.